pie is green. I could go for a beer, though, to be honest. Uh-oh.
Now you got that one.
Yeah, that had to be on there.
He got you on that one for sure. Luds definitely could go for a beer. Why not? It's only 2 in the afternoon. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. We have a good show today, including Steve Peters, a.k.a. Petey, will join us in our second segment because our main topic today will be focusing on one Logan Stankoven. We also have a ton of NHL News and Notes and a breakdown I'm going to put together of some stills of Patrick Laine, who did it again. That and much, much more here on the DLLS Dallas Stars podcast. So let's get it started. Sam, do you want to sing right now?
Maybe. No, cause I don't.
He's not ready yet. Okay.
And I don't get it yet. I want to hear the explanation.
This is the DLS Dallas Stars podcast on a Tuesday. It's December the 10th, which means we've been playing hockey for 2 months. So, alongside Craig Ludwig, Sam Nessler, our illustrious producer, John, don't you dare tell me about movies Anderson, I'm Owen Newkirk. 2 months in, and the race for the Calder Trophy is really a roller coaster because Logan Stankoven of the Dallas Stars stormed out of the gates and really looked like he was going to be maybe the it guy because, you know, I know some people might say it's not fair. He played almost 25 games, 24, 23. So he was just under by 1 game. Actually, it was 24. And by doing that, he kept his rookie status. But all those games last year really gave him a head start to get acclimated to the NHL and come out absolutely on fire. Well, that worked out for the beginning of the season, but then Ludsey missed a little bit of time due to injury, and since he's come back, he hasn't quite seemed like the same guy.
Yeah, I want to start with, why is our producer lurking around
Oh,
here?
there's probably an audio thing.
My mic is buzzing? It might be my pacemaker.
He's just checking our thing.
My pacemaker is too close to it. I want to start with that thing you were talking about. He might have played 25 games or whatever it was.
Yep.
It's not a loophole. It's a rule. And I would kind of compare it to what's that thing when you can, if a player's on long-term IR kind of thing, that if you had some extra cash available and a player doesn't come back until playoff time, you would be able to pull in another maybe big-time player.
It is what they would call a legal loophole.
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Not against the rules.
Not against the rules. So be careful what you criticize. You know what, though? I think that there is an adjustment period playing with Marchment and Duchene. There's things that I see in his game where he's a straight line, heat-seeking missile. He's in on the forecheck. He goes to the front of the net. He does all the little things that we love. He digs pucks out of the corner. I think he's still in the process of learning how to play with those two guys, especially Matt. Matt is a water bug kind of guy. He generally enters on the right side of the ice in the offensive zone because he likes to stop, pull up, be able to make passes on his forehand side. And I see times now it looks like Logan's kind of, when he starting to get to that offensive blue line, he's wondering, where should I go? And it may take away from what he does well, but he's a smart hockey player, and I think that he's going to learn to read off of that and get a little bit more integrated with those two guys. But he still brings all the same elements to the table, Sam. You know, I just think that it's been a few games since he scored, right? And I think everybody kind of looks at that, but he's not getting pulled off that line, and there's a reason he's not getting pulled off that line by the coaching staffs, because he does things that he's always been doing.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at he's currently 4th among rookie scoring, but if you look at the last month, He's played 12 games. He's only got 4 points. Oscar Beck even has more points than that. So
there's
there you go.
our rookie points leader.
In his last month, it's been a completely different story. And obviously we know the injury and things like that. But even when you look at the 12 games, he just hasn't been able to have an impact. And he talked to me a ton about that when I was in Tampa or Raleigh. I can't remember. Just about the learning how to score at the NHL level and how once you get it, it doesn't mean you have it. It goes up and down, whether we're talking about veteran players, Jason Robertson, or we're talking about a rookie or a second-year guy. It's not easy, and it doesn't come easy once you get it, and that's what Logan's going through right now.
John, pop that back up on the screen if you would, please. He's fourth, technically tied for third with Siplikov from the Islanders. 4 goals, 12 assists, that's 16 points in 25 games. His first 15 games of the season, 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points in 15. That means that he has 2 points, only assists in his last 10 games. That's a huge difference. Part of it may be getting used to, as Luddy said, playing with that line. Part of it may just be he plays a really hard style of game, Luds. Does that affect over time a player like him?
We're kind of talking about, we've talked about Brendan Morrow and players like that play that game. Now, in Brendan's case, Brendan played a different game. He played a heavyweight style game when he's a middleweight. And Brendan would take on anybody and he would fight guys and he'd run around the corner. I don't look at Logan as that same kind of guy. What Logan has to do is he has to compete in the corners against bigger guys. He has to compete in front of the net to get himself space. But I think he takes advantage of his size and his quickness to get to those areas. And once he gets there, it's tough playing a guy. Take a fire hydrant and just put it in front of the net. You know what I'm saying? And then try to get around it legally. And when he gets to the front of the net, he's got a wide base on him. He gets his legs spread, and it's hard to move him from there. So he takes advantage of his size or lack of it, however you want. He's probably, if you asked other players in the league, I think they would say that he's a tough player to play against. Maybe he doesn't have the natural gift to put the puck in the net like you would hope yet. I mean, his goals are generally from hard working and digging pucks out and being in front and banging them in and out of there. So, but I do think it takes a toll on him because it may take a toll playing with these two guys more from the neck up than it does physically.
So at the beginning of the year, 14 points out of 15. One more than Michkov in Philadelphia, who everybody thinks is the odds-on favorite, or Macklin Celebrini in San Jose. Celebrini was hurt, so those first 15 games, or the stretch of time where Stankoven played 15, Michkov did as well. He had 13 points. He was -5. Stankoven was +6. Logan had 11 even strength points and only 3 on the power play. And I point this out because if you go to that standings, the current chart, take a look at
the points or the
rookie points still, please. If you look at that, Logan is 4th, tied for 3rd. Look at over on the right-hand side. You see power play points. He has 3. Michkov has 11, right? Even strength points, they're dead even, and that's including a 10-game real slump scoring-wise for Stankoven. So you could argue, and I haven't watched Michkov play a lot this year, and so, but you could argue that Logan may be even the better player at 5-on-5. But Michkov is feasting on the power play, where Stankoven is a part of the power play, but he's certainly not a focal point. And in the 10-game stretch where he's only had 2, Sam made a good point because he said Oscar Beck has more points. Well, guess what? Maverick Bourque has more points than Stankoven. Beck has 4 assists in that span. Bourque has a goal and 2 assists. Logan has 2 assists. Michkov has 12 points in 11 games over that same span, and he's just lighting it up, but he's getting a lot of power play time, and that's why he's in the lead. So the question I have for both of you guys is, sure, he needs to figure out playing with Duchene and Marchment, and I think he looked a little bit better and created some scoring chances the other night. I think that's going to progress. But what about the power play? Because that's a team problem this year where it hasn't been up to snuff. And is that something that Stankoven can improve, or is he a bit of the victim of the way the team's going on that?
Your name's Sam, by the way.
Oh, is it?
I'll give you a name tag next time.
Yeah. No, I think, to be honest, I think Stankoven, I would imagine if we look back in 10 years, he doesn't have a ton of power play points versus even strength points because of the way he plays the game, right? He drives the net. You see a lot of his offense coming from moving off the rush, putting pressure on in the forecheck, getting in the corners. You don't do that on the power play. He's not a big setup guy. Set up a bunch of chances. He's not a big guy for a one-timer. Maybe he could be a better net front guy because of his size and the way he plays the game. But I really don't see him as a power play guy. And I think that's gonna, as you said, it's throwing the stats towards Michkov. Michkov's also got, I think, 3 game-winning goals. He's playing a lot in the overtimes that they're playing. The Stars don't go to overtime, so there's a bunch of factors that go into that. But I think to your power play question, I think that Stankoven is a better even strength player than he is a power play guy because of the way that he plays the game.
I think if they gave out third assists, he'd have a few more points because he really is a direct result of a lot of times why pucks get off the wall, why they get out of the corner after a shot and there's a little scrum going around. He probably gets that next whack at it somehow. Then it gets on net, then somebody else you know what I mean? So I think that what he does leads up to the guys that are getting the first and second assist or the primary goal, but maybe not as much, only because he's that guy that he's relentless on it. He's relentless in all 3 zones, actually. I mean, the only zone that I ever find him not driving around is in the defensive zone because that's more about locking on and having your area of the ice. And so that's what I think that he doesn't get credit for the stuff that he does that not everybody else notices.
Remember, sorry, Sam,
You're good.
remember last year, you weren't in Dallas, but you were following along. Luddy, I know you heard this because I was in the interview room with Pete before a game, and we were talking about his scoring slump last year because Logan had a bunch of goals right away and then quieted off. And Pete said, I don't know if he was telling the truth or not. He may have been, but his point was, he goes, it says a lot about the player because I didn't even notice that he hadn't scored in so many games. What he was saying, whether he really meant it or was making the point of, he does so many things the right way. He plays well. He's a contributing factor of a lot of things. He's not a liability defensively. That, wow, that's really good. This kid that's a real rookie is, nobody even is really focusing on his lack of production offensively last year. And I think that's going through this as well this year. And that's a credit to Logan Stankoven because we're not sitting here going, my God, why is he in the lineup?
Yep.
Right? It's a given he's in the lineup. There are players available in the AHL. If he was really stumbling, we would have these conversations. We're not because he's too good of a 200-foot player. But you look at that Calder Trophy, the rookie scoring lead, and John, can you put that up one more time, please? Just take a look at that. I don't think at the beginning of the season we were having the Logan Stankoven can and has a great chance to win the Calder Trophy. I'm starting to have my doubts, not because I don't think he's capable of it. I'm not sure it's going to happen. What do you guys think? Who are your favorites if you had to put down your top 2 or 3? Who are they, and is Stankoven one of them? Right now.
I'm not going to move off of Stankoven because I look at the flash and the dash and all that kind of stuff. I don't want one of those other guys on that list, or at least the 2 guys that are going to win this trophy or possibly win this trophy playing on this team because they're, I don't want to say playing by themselves, but this team here in Dallas is built for everybody to have a role and to fit in, and we're all moving and we're marching in the same way. And I think that when you get, some of these guys because they are super skilled, right? And there's a lot of other super skilled players out there that I think players would love maybe, and I think GMs kind of go, yeah, he's very skilled, but I don't know if he's going to fit into the way that we're built. And so I'm still going to stay with Logan as my Calder guy because of our team here. I think he fits this team for what he does. Those guys one of them guys can have the trophy. It'd be nice if Logan gets it. That's great. Would you rather have a ring or would you rather have that trophy?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, last time we were talking about a Calder was the 2021 season, and that was because the Stars were not the team that they have now, where that was the big win. Maybe getting the playoffs in that shortened season, but really the Jason Robertson Kaprizov situation was the focus. Lud said it perfectly. I don't think he wins the Calder Trophy only because Michkov, Hudson, Celebrini, those guys do everything for their teams, right? Those are 3 teams that are not top of the league. That guy Michkov's playing a ton of minutes. He's playing power play. He's playing overtime. Stankoven's not getting a lot of those minutes, and so just in terms of the usage, especially for the San Jose's and Montreal's, they're going to get more opportunity to put up the points. But the thing that sticks out with Stankoven to me is what Luds used to say. He pops. Remember, he used to always use that word. Have you seen him pop as much lately? And the reason I ask that is because when I look at his shot totals are usually not a huge marker, but for Stankoven it is, because when he's going, he's putting the puck on net every time he gets it. When you look at his first 15 games or so, it's a lot of 6s and 7s and 5s. Now it's a lot of 1s, 2s, and 0s, other than that game in Vegas where he had 7. So have you seen him pop, and is that an issue?
It's not an issue. I think it's who he's playing with right now. I think that it's the chemistry that he's trying to get in his head to play with those two guys that have been dominant with a third guy that's not there right now, and he's trying to lend as much as he can to them. And I think there's times where he might be trying to stay out of the way too, because there's the synergy between the two of them now. And to be totally honest with you, I don't think Matt Duchene has played the same without Segi on his right-hand side either. I don't notice him, and a lot of that can be that Logan precedes him on the right-hand side of the ice entering the zone, where Tyler would kind of sometimes be even with Duchene coming to the offensive line, or maybe even a little bit behind, which is where he would crisscross into the middle of the ice. And then Duchene was able to go to the right side of the ice to where he's so quick and he's got good speed, he takes that defender and he backs him off a little bit. And when that defender gets backed off like that, and he can feel him kind of starting to pedal a little bit faster, that's when he puts on the brakes. Then he stops, and then he finds either Seguin coming late or he gets Marchment across the other side. And that hasn't translated yet with Logan playing there.
We've got to get to Petey, but Sam made a great point about the minutes and the usage. Logan Stankoven is averaging 15 and a half minutes time on ice per game. Hudson is at 22, almost 23. He's a defenseman, though. Michkov is at 17, and Celebrini is almost at 20, 1942. And they're getting bigger power play time than Stankoven. So that is a very interesting point. But I do agree. He probably has to win the rookie scoring title if he wants to win the Calder. Up next, let's talk to Petey right here on the DLS Dallas Stars podcast.
Let's talk about my favorite fantasy platform and pick platform, which is Sleeper. Put your puck knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite, least favorite, or any player will have more or less than their projected stats each week. It's super simple. For tonight, I'm taking my expertise over to the NBA, Owen, for some NBA picks.
Are you comfortable with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I watch a lot of NBA. I got the Luka Doncic from the hometown Dallas Mavs. What up? They're not here, but I'm pretending they are. To rack up over 28.5 points against the OKC Thunder tonight. If it hits, you can win 1.7 times your money. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. If you think you have what it takes, download the Sleeper app and use the code DLS Stars to get it to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
Let's talk about HelloFresh. HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Look, we love the holidays, but we're busy, and we know very much that it's hard to try to get everything in and make fresh, healthy, sustainable meals. Well, HelloFresh can do that for you, saving you trips to the grocery store, making great decisions as far as the types of meals you like. They have tons of recipes, and you can save valuable time by not having to go to the store using the HelloFresh Market. There's over 100 add-on items you can add to your weekly box, like quick breakfast, packable snacks, beverages, and more. So it's not just those meals. Get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/free stars. Applied across 7 boxes. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/free stars. And we welcome in a fellow Fighting Sioux, or what they used to call Fighting Sioux, Steve Peters, a.k.a. our boy Petey from the All-City Phoenix, PHNX, and the Utah Pod. Petey, Luddy got dressed specially just for you.
I know he's got the green and white on. I miss the old Sioux head, Lutz. It's still not right, buddy.
Can you just?
What
Can
the
you,
hell, Petey?
can you
Take a look.
Can you put your?
No, you've got it. No, I see you've got it. That's what I'm saying. I missed
I
the
thought you
old
said I didn't have it.
No,
Petey,
they
let me
should
tell you
still
something.
have
To put
it.
his arms out.
Look at this jacket, Petey. I just want you to know.
Is that original?
This is, yes, I got this jacket in 1980. Okay, this is the first time I've had it on since then.
Oh,
and,
my God, really?
And there's a little story inside this jacket. So after our first year, we won the national championship. I got drafted in the summer. And then, so I have to drive to, Petey, you remember a little town called Superior, Wisconsin?
Absolutely.
Okay, I've got to go through
state of
Superior where I have two really good friends there. So unfortunately, I have to drive through Superior to get there. So I stop. We go to this little bar. It's called the Orr House. That night I'm there, it's 100 to 1. $1 for 100 little cups of beer. I'm wearing this jacket. So, you get drafted, you win a national championship. Something happens in a bar. I say, you want to go outside? So I go outside with two guys and my buddy who comes out with me, who's in a cast, one of these kind of casts that's just like this. Well, as I'm taking this jacket off to fight with this guy, I get hit in the side of the head. And then I get a dingo boot in the side of the jaw and break my jaw. I come back to North Dakota, get to school, and the coach calls me in about 4 days after I get there. I don't tell anybody about it. I didn't know my jaw was broke. He says, Ludwig, get in here. He goes, why are you getting sued from two guys in Superior, Wisconsin right now for a bar? I said, wait a second, sued? I'm the one that got my ass kicked in the thing. He goes, well, no, they got hurt pretty bad. Anyway, this is the coat that I was wearing then, and this is the first coat first time I put it on since 1980. It's the reason the sleeves are coming just below the elbows.
A little blood on here, right?
Move your mic a little, Lud, so we can see.
Move it to where?
I will pull out my Letterman jacket next game. However, I will say this: there is no blood on it, dude. When I went to UND, this is a true story. My freshman year, I weighed 100.
I never said I got hit. I got kicked in the face. I didn't get hit with a punch.
Well, you're bleeding, but you're bleeding. I'm not bleeding in a coat. I was 135 pounds at UND. 135. I
Hey,
got in a fight
what I
with
bleed
the-
is I bleed Miller Lite when it comes out of me, so it's clear. It's not red.
But the best logo in hockey, and they took it away, and it makes me very sad.
Okay, why is Petey here again? Has he got something to show us today?
Oh,
Just
of
for
course
that.
he does.
Oh, is it just for this?
Yeah. It's
Just for me to put a
just for
wetsuit
the-
on? It
just
looks
for
like I
you,
had a
like-
wetsuit on today.
Big and Gino was my coach too. By the way, this is the old school hockey when the head coach would walk out to the ice, puffing on a dart, like literally until he stepped on the ice. And his last one was so deep. And when he needed a break, it was time to do power play. And then he'd go sit up in the stands on his skates on the cement and light up another. That's old time
awesome.
hockey.
We carry pennies
story.
now. So if you need a break, you just pull a penny out and you throw it on the ice. You go, Liney, I think there's something over there. And then you got to go pick it up. Where is it? Over there. Oh, no, it's over there. And you get about 10 seconds.
And you get a little breather for your top guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of top guys, Petey, we lost one of our top six in Dallas with Tyler Seguin going on IR. We'll see what that recovery is. Actually, we haven't heard anything about his surgery. It was supposed to be last Thursday. So maybe some intrepid reporter might find out some details about it. We'll see because the team's off.
Official
yesterday and
word
today.
coming soon is all I've heard.
Yeah, so they're keeping it hush hush. But obviously, trying to fill that void for 4 to 6 months is not an easy task.
Right. Yeah, it's unfortunate. You're not going to fill Tyler Seguin's boots. You're not. You can't. And you're trying to do it with a 21-year-old. It's not fair for Stankoven right now to be put in the spot that he's in. And I don't mean put in the spot to play on that line. I think he deserves it. I think he's the right player for the time right now. But to compare Seguin and what he's done so far this season with that line, Stankoven's in a really tough spot to try to fill in and do exactly what he's been doing. Seguin brings so many more things to the table than Stankoven. Not saying Stankoven can't, and he can't help this line, and he can't help provide offense, but he's not going to be Tyler Seguin. He's not. And I think that Stars fans have to anticipate that he's not going to bring the same things. He'll bring different things, but I do think it's going to take time. It's going to take time, and Lud's mentioned it. Like, Duchene's different. And it's in his head a little bit, I think. His confidence has gone down. You watch his play with the puck has gone down. I think he's anticipating the puck and he's not getting it at times. This line's going to need practice time. And luckily for them right now, they've got 2 days to skate together now, and they're every other day at home. So they're going to get an opportunity to build some of that chemistry. I did see more in the game against Calgary. I thought that was the first time where Stankoven finally kind of got it. Like, hey, I got to make these little plays. It's not about making the big flashy sauce through 10 guys. I just got to make that that 3 to 4 foot pass and make a smart play. And it'll come, but I do think this line is definitely missing a little bit of spark that they had earlier in the season.
So I was talking to Mason Marchment Sunday morning at the end of their morning skate against Calgary, and talking about how he's been playing extremely well, obviously, and how much confidence he's playing with, and I can see it from upstairs. And I mentioned this to Luds on the pregame show, but you talked about playing fast. I think that's the thing that's going to, once Stankoven gets more comfortable, because Marchment told me, he said he doesn't have to think much right now. He's comfortable with the system. He's comfortable with his line mates, and things are going so well. He's just playing and reacting off of that. And I think Stankoven needs to get to that level with that group, and that'll help Duchene, because if Duchene has to do extra thinking, which he's very quick at, to adjust to Stankoven versus I don't have to think, I know where Tyler's going to be, which is what you just said in the last segment, Luds, that is probably affecting Duchene's game a little bit as well.
With no doubt. Like, you look at Seguin, he's played almost 1,000 games in the league. Like, it's funny when you watch him play how many times he's literally coasting. Stankoven doesn't coast. Seguin coasts because he knows where he's going. He's confident in, hey, I'm above my opponent. I know this puck's going to get rimmed around the wall, and I'm going to be there. I'm going to take my time, stay above everybody, and get there in the right place at the right time. Stankoven's going, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. And sometimes that excitement, exuberance, and his feet moving so fast is throwing this line off. And again, they'll get there. They're still making really good plays. I mean, Duchene and Marchment, you're still seeing those good plays. It has gotten into their head. And even Marchment's making plays through players that he doesn't normally make. And they're thinking too much when they really don't need to. And I think, again, it's just a matter of time before it fits in. You're not replacing Seguin. You're not. And he's having an exceptional year. And the more I watch the film on this over the last 2 days, the little things Seguin does are remarkable. Remarkable, the way he works his stick, the way he cuts off angles, the way he's in the right place. He's a phenomenal hockey player still at his age. He's a really, really strong hockey player. Stankoven's still figuring it out. Like, he's not going to do those little details. He doesn't have them yet. He doesn't have the little details in his game that he's going to get. So it's definitely a blow to this team. But this is a really good, deep hockey team. They're going to figure it out. And Stankoven is skilled enough and smart enough to figure out his role on this line.
Well, we're going to have a much, much longer, more detailed version of this package available on demand on YouTube. But here's Petey's little abbreviated breakdown of the Seguin versus Stankoven.
Matt Duchene is playing with a lot of confidence. What does that look like? We're here. He's 1-on-4 against the Boston Bruins, but he uses his skill and speed and quick hands to elude the Boston Bruin defenders, get a clear shot on that, and able to score past the Boston Bruins. Part of that is his line mate, Tyler Seguin. And what does Seguin bring? Well, Seguin's ability to make plays in small areas. You can see as this line gets to the blue line on the attack, Seguin gets a great pass from Duchene. But even though he's defended by 3 players and he's surrounded, he uses his skill and his strength, and he's able to make a quick play back to Duchene. Duchene's able to finish this play off and get a goal. You're going to see the other thing that Seguin can bring is his speed and strength. Here, he beats his defender to the net, but not only that, he uses his strength and his experience. He lifts the opponent's stick. Then he makes a quick inside play to Duchene, which allows Duchene to get a shot on net for a scoring chance. But right now, without Seguin, there's a lack of confidence in Duchene's game. Here you can see Duchene all alone in front of the net. He gets the puck in front, but instead of making a quick play like he normally would to the net, he holds onto the puck too long, gets the puck in behind the net. He's defended by the LA Kings, and he turns the puck over. Here's another thing we can see, his lack of confidence. He's got a puck in a position where he can drive to the net or make one of his skilled plays to the inside and make a great pass to Marchment, but he does neither. He holds onto the puck for too long, and he throws the puck away. But it's not just him. It's Marchment, too, on that line. You can see Marchment as he crosses over the blue line. He's got an easy play back to his defenseman who's loaded up for the one-timer, but instead, he's forcing the play to the inside, trying to get to the puck to Stankoven, who's well covered, and he turns the puck over. Well, Stankoven has got big skates to fill in Tyler Seguin, and he's playing with a little bit of nerves, I'm sure. And you can see some of his execution as they get to the blue line. Duchene drops the puck up to Stankoven. But now Duchene wants the puck back. He's looking over his shoulder. He's expecting the puck off of the wall or a direct play that the chemistry of Seguin probably would have been able to deliver that play. But unfortunately, Stankoven looks to the inside, throws the puck where there's good coverage, and he turns the puck over. But their chemistry is building. In their most recent game, you can see as Stankoven carries the puck through the middle of the ice. Great drop pass to Duchene through the middle of the ice. And Duchene's able to deliver the puck back quickly on the tape of Stankoven, and Stankoven's able to get a scoring chance. No one's going to fill the skates of Tyler Seguin, but give Stankoven some time. Have some patience. The chemistry is building.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about all of that in a second because we have to go to our break. But more with Petey, Stankoven, and Seguin next here on the DLLS Dallas Stars podcast.
After all that blabber from Petey, I need a beer right now. So, Owen, could you grab that beer out of that Rugged Road cooler road next to you? And it is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Our products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. Whether you're on the land, water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. One of the most unique features is its ability to always float upright. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers are built to last, ensuring they can keep up with any adventure. The coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cold for up to 7 days. Perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing and tubing to camping and tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So, gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off.
Man, he was on point again. Let's talk about Empire today. You get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire keeps shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection. Their philosophy is to help you find what you need, not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is as important as what they put in. Empire's product team exhaustively combs through thousands of product samples each year to find the perfect styles. They have a great virtual floor designer to help you see new floors exactly how they would look in any space. It's easy, just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your room. Plus, you don't have to go to a big box store. It can be frustrating. You talk to somebody that was in plumbing yesterday and is in flooring today. All Empire today does is flooring. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 discount off when they use the promo code DLLS. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/DLLS for details. All right. So Petey's package, which, by the way, if you're listening to this, and we appreciate all of our audio listeners, but you really need to go to the YouTube broadcast of this because there's so much of the visual and what he puts together. Petey, this graphic here, a little side-by-side between Tyler Seguin and Logan Stankoven, clearly a difference in height, although for the life of me, I don't know how 6'2" got into there because if Tyler's 6'2", then I'm 6'3", and I'm not.
And I got a 6 in there too.
And Sam is standing on some sort of phone book or something like that. But regardless, what you mentioned, he's 12 games away from 1,000 games. And look what we've got. Oh,
Yes. Good comeback, Petey.
Let's go.
Yes.
it's a good thing we had that package to roll so we could hide and go get it without doing it on camera.
I gotta go run, get my Sioux gear on the camera.
But I liked what you said because I saw it in how I was tracking my quality chances over the last couple of games. Stankoven's name was popping up a little bit more, and I think that shows at least some modicum of improvement.
Yeah, definitely. And I do think it got better as he's got an opportunity to play with these guys. You talk about nerves and you think, oh, he's a professional athlete. He's not going to have nerves. There's pressure. And there's pressure to play with a player like Duchene because he demands it. I mean, he demands you to play well. That's the kind of player Matt Duchene is. And I think there were some nerves that he's going to have to try to get rid of as he plays more and more with these guys. And it is about his style of play. I mean, his style of play, he is a guy that just, his motor is nonstop and he's got to go. And at a point, points, he's going to have to kind of slow down on this line. He's going to have to let things develop, and he's going to have more patience with the puck. But I do see it with him. We're making a lot about trying to fill Seguin's shoes. It's not. It's a jumbling of line. It's a guy that's hurt, and you're going to miss him desperately. This is a guy that pulls things together for the Stars lineup. You're just going to have to find somebody that can help stop the flood of water, put his finger in the dike, and help out. And I think Stankoven can do that. I think he's quick enough, smart enough, and skilled enough. And I'm not sure who else you get to fill that role right now. So I want Stars fans to be patient, and let's not be so hard on a guy that's literally played under 50 games in the National Hockey League right now.
Yeah, and I think the important thing, you've all said it so far, is they're not trying to find that line again. They're trying to find the new line. The new line is going to be, Seguin is out for likely the rest of the regular season. So this team needs that line, whatever it's going to be, versus thinking, let's try to rediscover that magic that Seguin had with Stankoven. It is, how do these three look together? Or if it's not Stankoven and we go 20 games in or whatever and that's not working, who else is it? And I think that's the key for not only Stars fans, but for the team in general, is let's find what that line's identity is and then build off of that.
Petey, in my opinion, there's only one other player on this team right now, and I know you don't get to watch every game that they play, but I wouldn't do it because now you're screwing up two lines. But would be Wyatt Johnston, and I don't only because I think he's maybe a little bit more cerebral. He has the ability to move east-west a little bit more, but I wouldn't want to do that right now because obviously that line is now starting to go with Hintz and Robo, and they're kind of dragging Robo into the fight, hopefully. But so you just live with it, don't you? Right?
Yeah. What's funny, though, you say that, Luds, because you talked about this early in the season. Who's going to play with Hintz and Robertson? Now that Pavelski's gone, who's going to provide that spark? And everybody's like, it's Wyatt Johnston, really? And the same things we're saying right now about Stankoven to Seguin, we were saying about Johnston to Pavelski. Not experienced enough, not quick and can make those little plays. All of those little things we're saying a week or 2 weeks ago. And Robertson started off slow. It's no mistake. His foot injury definitely hurt him to start the season. Roope looked slow, not because he's slow, but because his line was slow. That line's finally clicking. You can't take Wyatt Johnston off. I love Wyatt Johnston. Of the Dallas Stars players, he's a guy that I love to watch. I know the puck's coming to him, and I know he's going to deliver it to the net. He's just always around the play. So it's the exact same thing you had on your top line, you now have on your second line. It's a guy that you're trying to fill, a long-time veteran player that does all of the little things right. And Pavelski, make no mistake, phenomenal at the little details. So you're going to have to look for the same thing for Stankoven and Johnston to try to pick up those things. They're not going to get it overnight. So you're right. There isn't anybody else to fill that spot with that speed and skill. So this is what it is for a while in the top six for the Dallas Stars.
Well, that leads me to the obvious next question, which is who do they bring in to not make up for it, but to bolster the forwards with the hope that Seguin is available for the playoffs? Because Dallas has a bunch of young players down in Cedar Park where they could easily, whether it would be Matvei Blumel, Justin Ritzgovian just got a call up but didn't play. Arttu Huru, if you have the sounder nearby, there he is, and a couple others as well. But there's this issue of they can use LTI, or as we call it, LTIR, and they have a ton of cap space. The talk we had constantly, Petey, was at the start of this year, how do you make up for Chris Tanev not re-signing, and obviously because of the money. And so the thought was they might, after seeing how things shake out with the additions of Dumba and Brendan Smith and, of course, Lyubushkin, was, all right, let's see what they might need to do. Now they might need to bring in a forward too, though. Do you have any ideas on who you would target or the type of profile player you think would be a good fit, knowing the void that's currently left by Seguin's injury?
This is really hard because this team, when you're looking at it on paper, it is the back end. And you look at, we had Ilya Lyubushkin in Arizona before I was prematurely let go. But I like what he brings. But he's playing on a top pair with Heiskanen right now. And that's not his fit. That's not where he belongs. I don't think you defend as well as you did a year ago. And Dallas has to defend well. It's part of their DNA. So I think that's where they need to look at first. But now you've got holes up front. And right now, to be honest, I haven't had a chance to think about who could fill that role, but you need someone, one, that's got pace. They've got to be able to play north-south, and they've got to be able to get to that net, because you're seeing everywhere in this league right now, the way teams are scoring, is it's low to high, pucks to the net, traffic around the blue paint. And that's how goals are being scored. You've got to get a guy that understands, a veteran player that understands those details. And those guys are hard to find because you got to have a veteran player that's still got a little bit of pace to his game. And as this season progresses, I think it's something we need to look at closer here in DLLS.
Fellas, are you tapped out?
I'm not, but ever since we started talking about this, and talking about Logan, did Logan fit in well with Robo and Hintz?
It was
not
really,
great.
No.
So I'm just sitting here going, is Logan the kind of guy that you put with jamiebenn and Sam Steele? And that's a line that plays straight ahead. Everything goes to the net. It's a chaos kind of line. This is not taking anything against Logan. It's who Logan is and how he plays. Yep. Is there another? Because there is, like we've talked, there's no other Tyler Seguin on this team.
You know what? If Jason Robertson were playing at the usual level, and maybe scoring the other night helps against Calgary, but if he and Hintz were playing the level that you would normally assume they would, you could put Dadonov on that line and switch Wyatt Johnston over to Duchene. But as you said earlier, I don't know if I'm willing to give up what Wyatt has done, he and Rope collectively, to try to help Marchment and Duchene. I think you kind of look at Marchment and Duchene and go, you guys have had a great start to the season. You got to figure out how to do it with Logan.
Yeah, Petey, the reason I think that way is when you take whatever line is going together, Wyatt and Rupe and Robo, and then you've got the other two guys up top. They're creative players. I mean, yeah, Hintz has got a ton of speed, right? But their creativity is what makes them hard to play against. As a defender, I'm like, shit, which guy, where are they going to go now? Where is he coming from next? Logan is kind of predictable. Jamie's kind of predictable. Steele's kind of predictable. Maybe that's where he belongs if they could find. And now we're talking, because I think with the LTIR money, you're right. I would go in the back end somewhere.
Yeah.
But if you can find somebody, could Marchessault play up there?
You got enough money to use
they
too.
They can do both.
You
That's
could
the
easily
key.
do too
Not
if
usually
you're willing
the
to
case.
part with the assets it takes to bring multiple players.
So,
of that
Petey, you're the
caliber in.
GM. Has your mind has not shifted from looking at Logan and where everybody is right now? Would you still target a defenseman over a forward, or the other way around?
I think you have to, but again, that all comes down to where is Seguin in the recovery process? Is there a chance he's ready to go with a week or two left in the season where he can start skating so he's ready for playoffs? If that's the case, that changes my way of thinking, and then it is defending. But Luds, you nailed it. Like Stankoven, if you're on paper right now building this lineup, he fits with Benn and Steele. I mean, that's where he fits. He's got that grinding. I'm just going to go. I'm going to dig at the pucks. I'm going to cause chaos around the walls. That's the kind of player that line needs, and I think he fits there. I'm not sure, and I know you guys were talking about Calder Trophy stuff before. I'm not sure Logan Stankoven right now is ready for a top 6 spot on a team that's trying to win a Stanley Cup.
Okay, so
you talked about Celebrini and Michkov, they're top 6 because those teams are not.
So follow up to the group, and Petey, you can answer this first if you'd like. Would you then just go and say, Evgeny Dadonov, you're our plugger of holes for right now. You go play. I know that puts 3 lefties on the same line. Not that necessarily matters, but why not just try Dadonov with Duchene and Marchment?
Dadonov, in my opinion, is kind of like a righty because he plays the offside like he's a righty. It doesn't matter.
Would that work because he's a veteran guy? He plays quick. He's able to get up into the play.
Very smart.
Smart. He's got skill. Maybe that's the move.
If we're moving Dadonov, I'm moving him to the top line with Hintz and Robertson, and I'm moving Wyatt down with Duchene.
Why?
Marchment,
Agreed.
Stankoven down. I like what Dadonov brings. I think he's a little more stable player. I think he's a more experienced player. He's safer, and I think he's safer with Hintz and Robertson. I think Johnston is smarter. His high IQ with Duchene and Marchment. I think he's more like Seguin in his ability to generate, meaning that he knows where to be. Where Stankoven is he's just going. He's got that ADD. I'm going. And I think Johnston understands the game a little better where he can slow things down. I think if you're going to move Stankoven off that line, I would shift everybody down one. And I'd put Dadonov with Hintz and Robertson. I think Dadonov would understand his role with those top players that he needs to get them the puck. I think he understands the game. I'm digging the puck off the wall, out of the corners. I'm giving it to 21 and 24.
I have one more question for you, then we have to break to our segment. You were a video coach for a long, long time, so you're in the coach's room all the time. Are these
Yes.
conversations happening on the daily about
Every single minute of every single day, every plane ride, every bus ride. It is honestly nonstop. If you don't think the Dallas Stars coaches are talking about this right now and they're texting, hey, I saw a clip of Dadonov, and I think that might work with him. It's big. And those magnets that they have on the whiteboard, they're moving constantly. And this is what we're doing right now. It's not too dissimilar from that. It's the assistant coaches and head coaches doing exactly what we're doing now, and everybody putting their log into the fire. And unfortunately, or fortunately at times, there's only one vote that matters, and that's the head coach.
Yeah, Petey, I was going to say, you go back a few years, the garbage cans would be full of pieces of paper. Full of them.
Yeah, they would. Luds, you and I are going to have a couple of beers and talk about Dave Tippett someday.
Okay, well, it's going to have to be more than a couple if you're going to drink around here.
Yeah.
I know. I'm working on it. I'm starting early. I started early here.
Petey, we love having you on. We'll do it again real soon. I encourage everybody, go find, I think we'll have it up by about 5 o'clock Central Time, your full video, which is a lot more extensive than just the brief version we showed today. And like I said, if you're listening to our version audio, whether it's Apple Podcast, Spotify, you name it, which we love, a lot of people do that, go find the YouTube, because the visual that Petey puts together is something that just doesn't translate with just hearing the audio. So,
Absolutely.
Petey, thanks so much.
Thanks,
and
man.
I do have to say, your sweatshirt does look like it fits a little more comfortably than Luds' jacket.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I can't wait till next time. Thanks for having me.
He's not.
Thanks, Petey.
He's not taking steroids and everything else that goes on.
See you guys.
See you, Petey.
Up next, we will talk some very interesting, at least to me, NHL News and Notes here on the DLLS Dallas Stars podcast. Let's talk about the Die Hard program right here, actually. Not over there, right here. I said this to you yesterday, but I have to repeat it. We had a ton, over 110, actually 112 new Die Hard sign up with the Cyber Monday 36 for 36. It was at the tail end of the Black Friday sale. That means that we have triple-digit new diehards that have access to all the things that we do on DLS and the website, alldls.com. Sam's writing, who just did an article about where the Stars were at after a third of the season, if the playoffs started today, which they don't. Thankfully, the Stars are still in the playoffs, but long way to go from there. You also have the stuff that Sean puts in there. But Cowboys, there was a big game last night on Monday Night Football. So if you want to get Clarence and Joe's writing, or if you want to hear Jeff write about the winter meetings with the Rangers, or if you want Tim Cato, who does great stuff on the Mavs. We're buzzing here right now, people. Everything of the major sports scene in Dallas being covered, you can get access to all of it by being a diehard. And don't forget, coming up tomorrow on the show, we will close it out with our latest version of the damn Discord channel with Ask Luds Anything. It's been a while. Please be creative. Get into it. Put some thought into it. We'll do that tomorrow here on the show. Okay.
Per usual, can I put one thing in before we go to NHL News and Notes?
Love
but
to
it's actually
go.
good.
Okay.
It's good.
It better be good.
I'm just going to name a few names here. Kirill Kaprizov, Sebastian Aho, Travis Konechny, Alexander Barkov, Jack Hughes, Elias Peterson, Jack Eichel, Mikko Rantanen, Mitch Marner, Leon Draisaitl, Martin Necas.
Those are all pretty good players.
All below Mason Marchment over the last month in terms of points. Mason Marchment, third in points over the last month, behind only Connor McDavid and Matthew Tkachuk with 19 points in the last 14 games.
It'd be interesting to see that those players, what their lines are bringing as far as points. Yeah. You know, because Marchment's been doing, I mean, I shouldn't say it because I know Duchene's part of it, but Marchment has done a lot of what he's done on his own. He's created things on his own. He's got pucks back on his own. He takes them to the net. He gets rebounds. He usually doesn't have to get rebounds lately. The first one's going in. So, yeah, Mason Marchment right now for me is at a different level than a lot of people, and I think it starts with confidence.
I just thought that was crazy. Now,
I
continue
appreciate that. Mason
scheduled
Marchment,
programming.
I love it. NHL News and Notes, and we have a bunch of stuff and some visuals to get to. But briefly, I'd like to show the President's Trophy standings a third of the way through the season, because we hinted at this yesterday. Look at the Washington Capitals and the Minnesota Wild. Now, Winnipeg's tied as well for 40 points, but they've played 2 more games. If you had either one of those two in the top 10 in the league at the start of the season, you were either clairvoyant or out of your mind.
Without a certain number 8 for the team up top, which is just blows my mind.
Wait, you're saying to have Dallas up there?
No,
No,
if you
Washington
had
and Minnesota.
The Capitals or the Wild.
I got you. Okay.
Leading the league. Dallas is in ninth. So for all the things that we get frustrated about and nitpick here and there, Dallas is a top 10 hockey team.
And the crazy thing is Washington's up there. Ovi's out of the lineup, and he was on a pace. He could probably have broken the record this year, whatever.
Probably broke the record by the end of this calendar year.
Minnesota's playing, with handcuffs on, as well as Billy Guerin. I mean, he's going to be happy as hell when he can get that money back next year. So, yeah, I would have never expected either one of those two teams to be there.
And Washington, what really blew my mind looking at that today was Washington plus 35. Remember, they're notorious for making the playoffs at minus whatever.
Last year.
20 or whatever
They've
they
given
were
them like
last
70-some goal. It's
That's
crazy.
wild.
Yeah.
Last year, the Washington Capitals made the playoffs with a goal differential of minus 37.
Yeah.
It's worse than I thought. Literally,
Everybody
almost
knew
the
that they
complete
weren't going
opposite
to
of what
make
they
it more
ever
than
did.
a week and a half in the playoffs. I mean, it just wasn't going to happen.
I thought this team was going to struggle to score goals and defend with number 8 in the lineup.
So the question comes in, when Ovi comes back, does it become
Bench him.
Ovi getting the record or
They're all
chasing
talking
the
about
record
it,
again?
right?
You know
I
what
mean,
I'm saying?
Gary Bettman and Wayne Gretzky, when they actually said when he gets within 4 goals of Gretzky's record, they will start
But my
traveling
point is,
with the
does
team.
the focus of the team thing change a little bit to Ovi being back? And let's feed him and let's get him where he's at.
I don't think any
maybe
of
it's
us-
a good thing that he's missing
Lud,
this amount of
you
games
know-
because it looks like he may not get the record now.
But
so let's not focus on it.
what distractions can do to a team.
Yeah.
How about this? The Caps are 11-2 on the road this year.
they're-
That's incredibly good.
Yep.
And with that, the biggest, again, I just keep saying it because their depth is what really, I didn't see a lot of offensive depth behind the Ovechkin and the guys that he plays with. So for them to be good on the road, that's depth. For them to be scoring at the level they're scoring at, that's depth. And that's just really impressed me.
They're playing a game at both ends of the rink. It's not about going down to the other end and relying on your power play and scoring goals. They're taking care of their own end.
Yep.
As it stands right now, would Spencer Carberry be your favorite to win the Jack Adams as the coach of the year?
I hope not. Then he's going to get fired the next year.
Well, it's either that or John Hines, right? Because what John Hines has done coming
Neither
in
one
as
of them want that award.
nobody does.
No.
Because
the guy in New York
the
probably
kiss of
doesn't.
death. It's like the kiss of death.
Who won it last year?
Who
Was
won it wasn't it Tocchet?
Was it Talk
Did
last
it?
year? Could be.
I don't remember.
Well, I can look it
That
up.
or was the guy in New York. Laviolette didn't win it last year, did he?
We're going to find out here in just a second so
Somebody
that we
can
don't
tweet it
sound
in or
like
something.
complete morons.
Yeah,
it was Rick
Washington's
Tocchet.
seventh.
So listen to this. Rick Tocchet in Vancouver. Jim Montgomery the year before that.
Gone.
Daryl Sutter in Calgary.
Gone.
Rod Brindamore in Carolina. That's
there.
the outlier.
Yep.
Bruce Cassidy in Boston.
Woo, yeah!
Barry Trotz, Islanders.
Crowd's
Gerard
going wild.
Gallant, Vegas Golden Knights. John Tortorella, Columbus Blue Jackets. Barry Trotz, Washington. You get the point.
Yeah.
It just doesn't last.
And one of the best
Claude the
coaches,
next one?
one of the best coaches in the NHL,
No, we got a
that's
ways to
been
go.
there over a dozen years. John Cooper has never won it, and he's been there for a dozen years
I don't
and won a
understand how
couple
that's the
Stanley
case.
Cups.
Crazy.
Because they always say he's got a better team.
Is it
well,
because
let me
they
tell you,
expect him to
sometimes
be
it's
good?
harder to coach the personalities on some of those teams than it is just putting players in the right
yeah,
spot.
it's like the Jack Adams is more about the biggest surprise team, not the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
team. It's well, you made the
turnaround,
biggest
too.
turn. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, change of fortunes. Okay, so you look at the top 10, not a big surprise. Most of these teams you'd expect, except for Washington and Minnesota, I didn't think they were going to be that high. Right outside it, which we don't have on our graphic, that's the big surprise that the New York Rangers are 17th, Colorado is 14th, Edmonton is in 13th, and the Calgary Flames, like we talked about the other day, hanging around. We all thought they'd be one of the worst teams in the league. So there are some surprises on both ends of the spectrum.
Calgary they're only scoring, I think 22 of their last 24 games they've scored, it's about 3 goals. That's
They
all
can't
scored.
score. Yeah.
So that'll be, there's teams that are going to hang around. They're going to be bubble teams, and more than likely they get into the playoffs, and, things change when you get in the playoffs, when you just kind of creep in there. And like the whole being in the red is not a good sign when you get into the playoffs.
Yeah, what's crazy, as Owen mentioned, I wrote today about what the Stars would face if they entered the playoffs today. Like we saw last year when the Stars won their division, if you win the division right now, Minnesota Wild get the Colorado Avalanche as a reward. The Vegas Golden Knights get the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Those are the probably the two toughest matchups in the playoffs if you win the division right now. So
That's why I kind of the part of me that wants to go back to the way it used to be. You know what I mean? Where
Agreed.
you 1 versus 8, and
I would
I like that
reseed.
better.
when we were looking at the Thanksgiving
Bad when you get to
standings,
the second and third round and some good teams are gone.
I like the reseeding because I think you should be rewarded for
Yeah.
being the top
It
seed
puts
in
an
the West.
importance on the regular season too.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just
And it did fit well with the 3 divisions. You get the division winners, so they get the first round top 3 seeds, then you reseed. NHL love the bracket idea because it's like March Madness for basketball, but I don't think that's perfect.
well. They also said they like creating rivalries.
Yeah, the divisional battles.
Yeah.
Guess what? The biggest rivals for the Stars lately have been teams they played in the playoffs. Now, a little bit with Minnesota and Colorado, but it's the Vegas Golden
Yeah.
Knights,
Yeah.
right? Because they've met them either in the first round or in a couple of conference finals. They're not in the same division. So geographics can help if you have a team nearby. Dallas doesn't. Maybe if Houston gets an expansion team someday, that can change. But it's it's the big rivals in the playoffs. That's what it is. All right. So let's talk about Patrik Laine again. We brought him up yesterday, and then I just wanted to watch a little of the game last night because they were playing the Anaheim Ducks. Jacob Trouba making his debut for his new team. That looked a little different. And they get a penalty. Anaheim does. So Montreal goes on the power play, and 12 seconds later, Patrik Laine scores his 3rd power play goal in his first 4 games since coming back from that preseason injury. And so I put together a little still shot montage for you guys to break down. Here's the first one. This is Lane Hutson. So again, the power play just started. They already had a shot on net, an attempted clear. So they went right at it. They didn't mess around. Comes around, Hutson hustles over and keeps it at the left point. Really good play. He sees Nick Suzuki, whips it across the ice. Go to the next one, please. And there's Suzuki. And what does he look like he's doing right there? Shooting. Right? Clearly. What are the 4 penalty killers doing? Looking at the guy shooting the puck. Guess what? He's not shooting. He does a no-look cross-ice pass from the top of the right circle. There's his release. Still looked like he was shooting. Finds Laine below the left dot, outside of the left dot for a one-timer. Lucas Dostal has no chance at this with a clean release. And the next frame, it's in the net. And you can see that nobody's even close to line. That's a terrible angle. It's not easy. And what a shot. And then the point. He knows right away, Suzuki, that's a heck of a pass.
Great play.
But, Luds, I was so impressed with this. I went to the other angles, and there's 3 other views of how... Oh, we don't have those up yet. There it is. This is Suzuki at the release point, looking like he's shooting, and then going to his left.
He's not looking like he's shooting.
Wait.
He's going down to the goal line. That's
that-
what I'm telling you. That's what that defenseman thinks, and that's what this defenseman
Yeah,
thinks.
who is that? Is that Gudas on the right
But
here?
they're both thinking it's going to the goal
Gudas
line.
on
It's
the
the
right.
reason the right side D is coming down to where he is because he thinks once it goes to the goal line, it's now going across.
They're thinking about where they have to be next.
And it makes all
Exactly
the
right.
difference. I mean,
Yep.
if Gudas is just one step up on him, that pass can't get through to Laine.
But he sells it
Yeah.
so
But
well.
you can tell just by where Gudas is, or is that Gudas on the right hand side
Yeah.
now? Left hand side.
he's
looking
the
as
left
we're
of our
looking at.
screen right
You
now.
can tell how it's kind of like playing against Ovechkin. We're going to take him away. That they used to just go and stand next to him and say, "Hey, we'll play 4-on-3," which didn't turn out working either. But you can tell that that's what their concept is. We're not going to let the puck go over here. But by Suzuki looking like he's coming down to the goal line, that's what gets their attention right here. And then Laine is just in the. He's the guy that can score from anywhere like that with that shot. And right now, like we said in his first game, he's feeling it.
Yeah.
He just feels it.
And then he scored his shootout goal.
Yep.
Montreal wins in the shootout. And is there anybody more popular in Montreal right now than Patrik Laine?
Nope. They think that he's been sent from heaven to bring, the hockey gods are back.
They got some shooters now. Hey, I got a question for you, Luds, on that. John, can you pop up any of those pictures at the end of the shot of that? So in lacrosse, it's big to you look for the 3-on-2, especially if you're a man up. Is that similar on a hockey power play that you're trying to, because you're obviously 5-on-4, but when you break that down and get the 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, isn't that where those chances come from?
Well, yeah, you would rather face a 2. Are you talking about defending or offensive?
Offense, I'm talking about.
Well, you'd rather have the 2-on-1 than the 3-on-2.
Right.
So yeah, if you can create that 2-on-1, especially when you got a guy like that, that's why Gudas is where he is. He's like, there's going to be a 2-on-1 here,
Yeah.
and I feel better about if that guy on the goal line gets the puck, he's going to try to stuff it. I'll give my goaltender that for right now versus that guy over there. Because right now, the 5 guys in the red jerseys and the blue pants, the most dangerous one is the one that looks like he's almost sitting in a seat in the front row.
Yeah.
But he's dangerous from where he is.
I want to give Hudson some credit because he made a great play to just hustle over there and keep it in the zone, because if that gets out, everybody clears and 20 to 30 seconds burn off the power play. But then instead of dusting it off, he has pressure in his face and he knows where the open guy is, and it's Suzuki across the ice. Because if he doesn't make that pass, maybe he gets caught, or maybe the forward doesn't jump so high. And then now Gudas knows he can cover line A, because I just thought
the thing really, when I first see this, like the way you have it, and it still looks different than it does live, how spread out they are, the pennant killers. I mean, look at the holes all over the place. They got to be tighter.
It felt like they were a little too aggressive on the play and moving the puck quickly. For our folks on our fast channels, thanks for watching. We have a few more things to get to, so stick around on YouTube or on our audio platforms, of course. The next thing for us is the NHL 3 Stars of the Week. That was actually released yesterday, but we didn't have time to get to it, so we thought we'd tot that up real quick. Boy, wouldn't you love to have Matthew Tkachuk on your team. Look at that. 3 games, 11 points, 5 goals. He led the way. Braden Point was second from the Tampa Bay Lightning, because we know that Florida is a destination, or at least Kevin Adams with the Buffalo Sabres mentioned how they didn't have palm trees and they had taxes. It was kind of half out of context, because he was making other very important points. But if you try to get too cute, sometimes that's what everybody jumps on. And then Luddy, at the beginning of the year, everyone was saying Jordan Binnington is going to be your Canada starter for the 4 Nations. Aiden Hill, who's the 3rd star of the week this week, might have something to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good problem for Army and Coop to have, when they got a couple guys like that are playing lights out at that right time. But again, there's long ways to go. It's not like it's right around the corner. It's further away than you would think. So we'll see what happens from here to there.
You still have some affinity for that young Canadians goalie, Sam Montembeault?
I do think he's a good goaltender. It just seems the games that I've watched him play, he's like lights out, and he's so big, and he doesn't quit on pucks. He seems to find ways to scramble and make big saves. It's like at times he reminds me of a big octopus, and his arm comes across to this side and his leg goes over to this side. So yeah, I've liked what I've seen of him. I don't get to watch him a ton.
Sam Hill had a great week, but I know that watching the Vegas game against the Stars, boy, he spits a lot of pucks up.
Yeah, I think I said on the post-game show, he's a blocker, and he hasn't shied away from that.
But he's big.
He's big. He blocks it, and I think you said it. Vegas has just played that way. They say, hey, he's going to make the first save. Let's clear out the rebounds. That's our job, is to clear out the rebounds, let him see the first shot, because he's probably going to stop the first shot. But the interesting part for Canada is, I guess, Ottinger, Hellebuck probably maybe battling to see who starts, but really it feels like Hellebuck probably has that. Whereas
feel like
Canada
Hellebuck
is like, who plays better over this group right now for the next couple months, and that could be who gets that first start.
Wouldn't that be interesting? I believe it's Hellebuck too right now. But what happens? Like I said, there's still some runway to go here. What happens if Hellebuck loses his last 3 of his 4 games before they go in? Do you think they change their mind? And Jake is playing lights out.
I mean, it's a short tournament. Yeah. I think we've talked about that before,
and
right?
He loves playing in Boston.
If Jake's playing really well for the whole 3 weeks up to that, and Hellebuck isn't, it's all about who's hot at the moment. It's not about who's the better goalie.
I think with what Hellebuck did last year, what he's done up to this point this year, I start him.
Yes.
In that game 1, and if it goes sideways, or and it's not, he lets in a poor goal, and you kind of see some residue from what happened, whatever his last few games would be, then it would be quicker for me to put Jake in. But if Hellebuck comes in and starts, I think that he's getting the start. I think if Jake goes in and starts, Hellebuck will get the game 2. That's what I think. I think they'll want.
I think they should
Hellebuck.
use both.
Yeah, I
mean, they're the only team that has
like I said,
two
it's
really
a
good
good
goalies.
problem to have.
Technically 3.
Yeah,
I mean,
3.
Swayman could easily be the starter
sure.
of that too. And lastly, just to wrap things up today, a little Texas Stars love, because Antonio Stranges of the Dallas Stars AHL affiliate was named the AHL Player of the Week. Look at that. 8 points in 4 games. Everybody knows, or if you are familiar with Stranges, you know that he has that unique skating style, which he leans into, I mean, everybody does, that 10 and 2 a little bit.
Yeah, but he does it from one end of the rink to the other.
He does it as if it's
crazy.
His superpower.
Yeah, he talked about, I haven't actually fully watched the video yet, but I saved it on, I think it was on Twitter. Maybe I'll repost it. But he talked about how he sharpens his skates so he can do that. And I'm really interested to watch that because I think he ties his skates looser than most as well, so he can just. I mean,
it's like he's wearing horseshoes.
It's a bender. When you call
Yeah.
people a bender, it comes out. That's what he looks like when he comes out and opens up and flips it open. And it's just crazy to see how he does it. But if you watch him, as you mentioned, he's not doing it just around the net or just in tight corners. If he skates the puck up all the way up the ice, he probably does it 3 or 4 times just to get up there.
Well, he was drafted by the Stars in the 4th round in 2020. He's still only 22 years old, even though this is his 3rd year professionally. He's an Ann Arbor, Michigan native. And look, don't count guys out. We were kind of looking at training camp this year, and he wasn't one of the names on my list because he was an AHL guy for this year, penciled in. There weren't a lot of spots, but there was a competition, and he really wasn't one of that. But Luds, this team, this organization loves to reward the guys that are playing well right now, not the guys that on paper should be the call-up.
Yeah, I throw them a bone, here and there. So, but it'll be interesting. I think they're really happy with where they are now. But again, look at where we're at right now, and we'll see. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the next couple months around here.
Big thank you to Petey, Steve Peters, for joining us today and talking about that. We are going to do one more regular show tomorrow, and then we're back to pre- and post games for Thursday and Saturday with Friday off. And tomorrow is the damn Discord channel. I'd just tune in for that, let alone everything else. We are going to actually ask, because it was planned for today, but we talked with Petey for a segment longer than we anticipated. And for a good reason. It was great. Go find that this afternoon in a couple hours on YouTube, the full breakdown if you want to see what he came up with. It's really fascinating because we're going to ask Luds, and this is serious. This isn't just teasing him. What's keeping him up? What's he thinking about the Dallas Stars right now? What's bugging him? He gets up and watches games the next day. He doesn't sleep. So what's he doing when everyone else is asleep? What's going on in that brain of his? And about at least about hockey.
I have to get the inside out drop now that you said that.
We're going to have to narrow it down a little bit.
Like we talk most, like this show is like 50% Pixar movies, 50% Dallas Stars hockey.
That's right.
That.
And maybe a Beyonce reference or two.
Yeah. Can we make Sam sing now to end the show?
He doesn't look like he's ready to go.
Well, that's not a right, though. That's the opposite, isn't
Logan
it?
Stankoven plays right wing.
Is that what it was?
Why would I
And
do
they're
left?
two right-
I was asking. I
2
didn't
out
know
of 3
that.
are right.
Yeah.
Shot forwards.
Yeah. You must not know about me. Must not know
He's looking
about
at me, and it's uncomfortable.
Because I really want you
Look at
to
Luds and do it.
experience this.
I'm just going, let's wrap this
Luds,
thing
let's
up.
get
I
outta
gotta
here,
get on
eh?
the ice. I got to go home and start looking for a jacket from the 70s. See if that one fits. The one from the 80s doesn't.
Man, I can't wait.
That thing's hanging on for dear life on you, huh?
I know.
I can't wait to hear the next story, too.
Turning
because,
blue over here.
Hey, how's your jaw feeling? Better now?
Yeah.
It's a long time ago. That was only, you said 1980?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was 44 years ago. I was born in 1980. There you go,
Move
Sam.
it along.
Thanks for joining us this afternoon or whenever you tuned in. Check it out on YouTube if you're listening. Check out that breakdown with Petey. It's really great. Until then, we'll see you tomorrow, 2 o'clock Central Time, live on YouTube and on all the audio platforms after that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Sign up to be a diehard. And say hi to John in the Discord. He likes it. Talk about some movies and the Stars and anything else right here on the DLS, Dallas Stars Podcast.
Get ready, boys.
We all silly like the mayor.